Well, hello. Welcome to a Saturday in 2024. It is Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, and motocross is getting a little crazy. I don't ever make videos about supercross, motocross, off-road, although you might know, if you know me, that it's one of my very favorite things in the world. In fact, by far my favorite sport is anything off-road, but particularly supercross. So this week, everything's been on the West Coast for the supercross season so far. We go into week number 5 here, where they move over to the east and they go to Detroit, Michigan. But here's the crazy thing, is the 250 west side gets a break, and the East Coast jumps in for the first time of the year. So who will it be? Who's going to be on the podium when it comes to the end of today, not tonight, today, because it is a day show in Detroit, Michigan? So who's it going to be? Is Forkner going all the way? Is Forkner going to have the – did you see that thing floating by me? That was so weird. Is Forkner going to have the best year he's ever had? He needs to. He's had injury after injury after injury and setback after setback, and he has continued to rebound, but might be in the best shape of his life physically and mentally. If you watch or listen to Forkner's interviews, you'll notice that him working with Rhino on the West Coast is really, really helping. With no disregard and no lack of love for Robbie Raynard in Oklahoma, baby, you will see a different version of Forkner. You've heard him talk maybe on some interviews where he actually speaks just recently, even at press day yesterday, was talking about just the different coaching style happening with Ryan Hughes out there on the West Coast. So what's it going to be for Forkner? Now, here's the crazy thing. It's going to be the first week of East Coast 250s. However, then they go on a 3-week break because things flip back over to the West Coast, and we have the West Coast 250 series continuing on for a couple more weeks. So I think, honestly, Haiden Deegan said it best. He said this is a week, then we have 3 weeks off, we readjust, see where we are today, and then go from there. And I can't agree more. So is it going to be Haiden? Is it going to be Forkner? Have Haiden and Austin even raced together as pros? I don't really know. If they have, it's been minimal because Forkner's been out so much. So what's going to happen? And then you have McAdoo. Maybe he'll be the wild card. And I say that only because he's been plagued with injury after injury after injury as well the last few years. Gnarly wrecks that he's had as well. But he's back. He seems pretty healthy. I feel like he was vague in the interviews that I watched from press day. But maybe that was intentional. I really don't know. And then you got Tom Viala's back, Max Anstey. You've got some heavy hitters. Jalik Swole's back on a different bike. Is Triumph 250 inaugural rollout going to do anything? What's going to happen with Triumph? They're really cool-looking bikes. If you like the look of the Triumph bike, I'd love to hear what you think. But they're rolling out the 250. It starts today is the first races of the Triumph 250. And so they've got 2 riders, and I'm drawing a blank on which one is Jalik, and I can't remember the other one. Anyways, if I've got my facts straight, that's right. So what happens today? What happens with Supercross on the 250 side? Here's my prediction. I say podium is going to be, in no particular order, I think Forkner's on the podium. I think he wants it bad. I think that Haiden will just accept nothing less than the podium, and rightfully so. He works hard. But what's happened with this injury that's been totally on the DL? What's going to be the story with that? And then who else takes the podium tonight? Who's the third one on the podium tonight? There's so many good guys, but we don't know what they're going to look like because we don't know what happened for them in the offseason. So I think Daxton Bennick might, stir things up a little bit. He seems ready, definitely seems ready. But for the podium, I'm going Haiden, no particular order. Haiden, Austin Forkner, and I'm going to go McAdoo, my boy. I like Cameron McAdoo. So we'll see what happens. And then let's talk real quick about what's going to go on with the 450s. AP has had a really good season so far, but it's been the weirdest season that I've ever watched, with 2 mutters back-to-back on the West Coast when you talk San Fran and then San Diego. And so, that's changed everything up. And would you agree with me that, honestly, mud races are not fun to watch? At least San Diego had a little bit more speed. But, man, as far as bar banging goes and true racing and some speed, you're not really going to see that in the mud races. So it's good to see. They'll be indoors tonight. And we'll see what happens. But when it comes to the 450s, I started talking about AP. I think AP is awesome. I think he's definitely got a chance of ending the season in the top 3. I know we're really early, but as long as he doesn't have any injuries, I think he's got some really good potential to have a really solid top 3 season. But then you look at people like Jason Anderson, who's one of my favorites. I think that Jason's got a want right now that I haven't seen in years. The last time I remember anything even kind of like this, just even remotely, was I think he got Anaheim 1 in 2020 or 21, if I'm not mistaken. And then he was really having some great battles with Tomac through 20, I believe it was 21 and 22. And then he hasn't really done a ton in the last couple years for the most part. But if you watch what he's doing right now, he's riding fast, he's riding smooth, he's riding intentional. I think that he's not he's seasoned, and I think being a dad changed some things from this. Is my opinion. And so what I'm seeing, what I feel like I'm seeing out of Anderson is a well poised, for the most part, seasoned veteran rider who is not done yet. Like he is not done. If anybody thinks that because he's 30, 31 years old, he's on his way, he is not done yet. I think he's got another championship in him. I think he won't quit until he gets a championship. What's going to happen with Tomac, the number 3? Man, I love that guy so much. I love his riding style. I like who he is. I love his how humble he is. And I think he's riding okay this year. I don't think he's found his groove yet. I think he will. I don't think it's too late for him to have a very, very, very solid season. I watched an interview, and I don't know if it was Jason Weingart, I don't remember who it was, talking about that it's time for people to start settling in. Like, we're going to start seeing what's going to happen throughout the rest of the year. As we hit week 5, we've had a really weird West Coast start, and now it's time to just kind of see how people settle in and lock in. It's weird. I don't think Roxon's done much this season, but he came into it so strong, and he's been riding so well. I don't think he's not riding well. I think luck hasn't been on his side. Starts maybe haven't been amazing, and he just hasn't been at the very front of the pack. So I don't think that Roxon is done. I think AP's got some potential. I would love to see, just for the sake of him, I would love to see him finish on the podium tonight somewhere. Cooper Webb, I'm not a fan. I don't like the guy. He's growing on me just a little bit because I've always thought he was just an arrogant prick, just the way he comes off. Never liked the guy. But now twice in interviews I've seen him be a little bit more, I don't know that humble's the right word, but kind and compassionate. He spoke really nice about Plessinger recently, and that goes a long way with me. I'm kind of a softie. So do I want to see Cooper on the podium? Absolutely not. I want to see Barsha and Anderson and probably Tomac or AP on the podium. That's what I always want because I love Barsha, I love Anderson, and but there's a lot of really good. I mean, the top 10 is top 10. The guy, Malcolm Stewart's awesome. He just has not had a good run of luck. Neither has Christian. I think the Rockstar Husqvarna team has, not been at the front of the pack, but I think they're both going to have a strong season. I just don't think they have really found a groove yet. So will Roxon be up there tonight in, let's say the top 5? I don't know. I think he's got it in him. I'd love to see AP on the podium. What do you think? Where do you want to see these guys today when we talk about Supercross, Detroit, Michigan? It's inside tonight, so weather is not going to be an issue, and it's the first of the East Coast 250s. We'll see what happens. I'm Chaz. Have a good one. It's my first motocross video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. You can be honest, semi-honest.